Hi, welcome to Allbrands After Hours with me, Courtney Douthat. Welcome to the show where we just hang out and craft together. So if you have a project you're currently working on, go ahead and grab it. Let's craft together. So for today's project, we're actually going to be making my son a fall shirt so he can wear it to school for their upcoming little party. So what we're going to do is I've already went through the internet and just kind of typed in Thanksgiving or fall inspired images. So I came up with a few. So I've got this little truck with the pumpkins in the back, which I think it might be my favorite one. I've got this Happy Thanksgiving one if I wanted to make it a Thanksgiving shirt. Alrighty, and then I have just a few little pumpkins that I just thought were really cute little shapes, and I purposely printed these just small. I didn't enlarge the image, I didn't do anything. All I did was hit print on these, and there was nothing interesting about them. I mean, nothing particular. They're not SVG files, they're not embroidery files, they're just pictures that I saw that were really cool, kind of clip art pictures on the internet. So what I did was just print them out, regular computer paper, nothing special. So I think I'm actually going to scan in my truck first because the Thanksgiving one's cute and I do want to make that one too. But I think with the truck it'd be kind of cool because then he could wear it now since we're, just getting into Thanksgiving. He can wear it the whole month and it doesn't say Thanksgiving, it's just a nice little fall shirt. So you should be using your scanning mat. Do I know where mine is? No, I'm not really sure. So you can use your low-tack mat as a scanning mat. However, I do think you get a better image with the scanning mat, so I would probably use that if you have it. Or if you know that you're going to be scanning in a lot of image, I would go ahead and invest in a scanning mat. But I don't know where mine is. I'm going to use my low-tack mat. You can scan in with all the mats. However, I would not be putting paper on a standard mat or your fabric mat because you're going to be picking off paper for quite a long time. So we've got this. What we're going to do, turn my machine on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to load our mat. There we go. So we're going to scan. Now, do we want to scan to direct cut? Do we want to scan to data? Do we want to scan to a USB? Because you can do all those things. Now, if we were cutting out the paper and we wanted to cut out that particular image, like I just want to cut out that truck out of that cardstock, or this isn't cardstock, it's rather computer paper, but if it had been, I could cut it out directly out of that to add it to a bulletin board, add it to anything I wanted to do. But I don't want to, I just want to scan it in. So I'm going to cut to data. Now I could save it to a USB if I wanted to, but we just want this for today. So we're going to go ahead and hit start. Oh, wrong side. There we go. Now, it's asking about our lever. Lever. Is it lever or lever? Y'all tell me in the comments. So what that is, it's this right here. It's just a little thing that you can flick up, flick down. If it's a thicker material, it's going to want you to flick it up to the 2. If it is a thinner, it goes to a 1. So this is pretty thin, so I'm just going to have it as a 1, but the machine will tell you what it thinks you should do. So we're going to go ahead and hit start. What it's doing is just scanning it through just like we do all of our other ones, so nothing crazy. But what this is actually going to do is change that image into a cut file, so we're able to cut it out. It's automatically going to do it. There's no extra software, there's no taking a picture of it, nothing. The machine does it all internally, which is awesome. So she's got our little image for us. There's our truck. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to tell it, hey, do we want just the outside of the truck? So nothing of the innards, just all the outside bits. Well, no, I don't want that because I want the handle and all the other little bits inside of the pumpkin and everything. So we're going to tell it this one. So now we get all of our little bits. I want every single one of our little bits. I want all the little bits of our pumpkin. There we go. See, we can actually scroll her in. So you see how she had the little edges of stuff? So we could actually scroll in, and we could delete those later if we want. But if we want to knock them out real fast right here, we could just kind of go in and only get the bits that we want. So that way none of the other little bits that were on my paper are going to show. Now, there are some wording underneath my tires, and I can go ahead and edit those out whenever I'm ready. So where do we want to save this to? We could save it to a USB, we could save it to a machine. If my computer was nearby, we could wirelessly send this to my computer because she is Wi-Fi capable. So we want to save this to my machine because I want to use this right now. Which is nice because I'm saving it to my machine, so if I wanted to make one little boy one, I could. And then right after that, I could make my other son one, so I could be knocking out multiples. Or if my sisters see this video, they can be like, where's our shirts? So there we go. We have our design. And it brings you back to the screen in case you wanted to just do the outer part or something like that. But we're good. We've got our image, so we can go home. So what we're going to do, say okay, is we're going to retrieve data right here. So we retrieve data. Remember, we saved it to our machine. Now, these are things that I already had saved. That's Mickey Mouse saved. But there's our little truck right there. Let's hit okay so we can get to our editing screen. There we go. Now, she's still got that little bit under there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, go there, and I'm just going to highlight those little words. You could individually delete them out if you wanted to. It's just easier for me to group them all together. Hit okay, delete, hit okay. All that's gone now. Okay, so what we're going to do is before I do any movement, I'm going to come here. What I'm doing is I'm grouping every single one of those pieces because if I was to move that truck right now, all the little pieces would be everywhere. Nothing's connected. So I'm going to hit okay. We're going to hit object edit and we're going to wield it together. So now if I was to move it, it's all moving in one piece instead of a bunch of little pieces. Because remember, this wasn't a cut file. This wasn't any kind of designs. We just made this out of thin air by printing out a piece of paper from the internet. So, all right, we've got our design. Now, it's really great. It's really cute. It's kind of small for what I want for my son's shirt. Okay, so we're going to unload our mat because we're down with our low-tack mat and our design. So again, it's low-tack, so it just comes off. Doesn't hurt our mat. Doesn't hurt that piece of paper. So if it was something you actually wanted to keep, you're good. You don't have to sacrifice it. Okay, so I have I have my son's shirt right here. So now I'm just gonna look, and honestly, what I usually do is let me grab it. I'll grab my mat. So now I'm getting my standard mat. What I do is I grab my mat, and my mat is a ruler. So I'll usually just grab it, and I'll be like, okay, well, if I put it right here, and the design starts right here on my shirt. And I come over here, okay, well the armpit reaches a 9. Well, okay, I know that my design can't reach a 9 because then it's going underneath his armpit of his shirt. So I kind of look and I'm like, if I want my design to start right here on the shirt, well then over here I would probably want it like a 7.5, almost an 8. And I know that now for my width, that's what I'm working with. Now, same thing for my length is I know that, okay, if this is where it's going to start right here, I don't want it to go all the way down to his tummy. I want it to stay in this general area up top. So I know that I don't want the length of my item to be any more than maybe a 7 or a 6. I mean, it's a truck, so she's longer, wider than she is, tall. So I know that, okay, my truck needs to stay around an 8, a 7.5 to an 8. Okay, and then however big that happens to make the height, I'm good, as long as it doesn't do anything crazy past a 6. So let's go ahead and size our item, now that we know our general idea of our shirt. Okay, so we're going to come right here to size her. Alright, so currently she's only a 2x4, but we want it a lot bigger. So I know, remember our width, we wanted to keep it between a 7.5 and an 8. So I'm thinking a 7.5 just to stay on the cautious side. Okay, so now that we see our 7.5 width will give us a 4 height, which is fine. That's perfect because remember we wanted to stay between like a 5 and a 6, so we're good. We're perfectly fine on that height. So 7.5 looks great. Love it. So we're gonna hit OK. Okay. So if we wanted to edit out our pumpkin, if we wanted to edit our truck to get those divided out, we could. But I'm not really worried about it. So we're gonna hit OK. We're gonna hit OK, and please select. And we're going to cut. That's exciting. We're going to hit here, and we're going to make sure half cut is on, weeding box is on. Okay, so now our weeding box, if you can tell, the box just got added around our image. That way, we're good. The vinyl is not going to be wasted as much. So, let's go ahead and prepare our mat. Okay, now we're going to be using the standard mat today. Now for our image, let's go ahead and grab it. For our image, I'm thinking we could use maybe this orange for the truck. It'd be cute to do a little orange one, or orange for the pumpkins because they're pumpkins. So maybe orange for the pumpkins. Let's see, I have some vinyl right here. Let's see, black for his tires. Now we could do a red truck with the classic red truck with the orange, would be really, really cute, orange pumpkin. But I'm thinking a blue truck would be really cute. If I have that blue, or maybe a green truck would be cute, or a light blue truck would be cute, or not a lime green truck. No, we're not doing the lime green. So, let's see. This is where you look back at your design and you're like, yeah, the red and the orange would have been too much together, so I'm glad we're not doing that. The light blue is cute, and we can always pull in our shirt. Honestly, I don't think the green truck. I think we'll use this green for the stems of our pumpkin, which would be cute. But, I'm leaning towards the dark blue truck. I think it'd be cute on the little shirt, very boyish. And then if you were doing this for a little girl, you could do a pink truck, or, you know, change anything like that. Add their name would be cute. Maybe I could add his name. Maybe the truck could be riding on his name. We'll have to think about that. Okay, so we have our vinyl selected. We're doing each of our bits. So you could stick this straight on. It doesn't matter. It's flopping over the end. But I think I will cut it. And we know our design currently. Okay, so I'm just going to rough cut this just because I can. Remember that weeding box is on there, so I know that even if I am cutting this like this, I'll probably have vinyl bits around there that are perfectly safe to use. Now, I'm flipping it. Why am I flipping it? Because vinyl you want to cut on the technically wrong side of it, not the shiny side. So you've got your shiny side that keeps it all together. Then you have your matte side over here. What this is on the back end is glue. So whenever you iron it to the shirt, you're heating up that glue. That iron's heating that up, activating that glue to make it sticky. Right now it's not sticky. It's completely shiny, flat, smooth, not fat. Flat and smooth. So there's nothing sticky about this right now. Because whenever you add that heat, that's when it activates it. So we want this shiny side down because we don't want to cut through this. This is why we do a half cut. With previous ScanNCuts, long time ago before auto blade, you had to know every setting to know exactly the pressure and the blade. That way it didn't cut all the way through, and most people cut all the way through unless they knew exactly for every single type of vinyl and every single thing like that. It was awful. I had a notepad that had all of them written down. Now with auto blade, with the ScanNCut, there's none of that. You don't have to go in and tell the machine anything particular other than just, hey, half cut, only cut through half, done. Don't have to tell it what kind of brand or anything. I've seen that. It's odd. Okay, so we're going to put our vinyl down. We can use our brayer tool just to brayer it on down to make sure she's on there good. Okay, there we go. So that's on there. Now we could, of course, put something else here, cut out more if we wanted to, but I think this is a good start. So we're going to load our mat. Boop. Now, if our truck's not really directional, I mean, if I really wanted him to be going this way, that's fine, I could. But if it was lettering or something, remember we flipped our vinyl, we would have to flip our image. Okay, so we're going to hit start. It's starting to tell us it's going to take about 2 minutes to cut out. She goes. Remember we're using our standard mat for vinyl. So vinyl, you would use your purple mat. I had to remember what color it was. Your purple mat, remember gold is fabric and blue is low tack. So blue is paper, different things like that. You don't want a strong grip on because it's going to shred it. So paper, low tack mat, purple for vinyl, and different things like that you're cutting out. And then your gold for fabric. Because the gold is the most sticky. So that's fabric. That's just going to hold it tight. So I wouldn't want to do my vinyl because it doesn't need that much of a hold. It holds on the standard great. So I don't want to have to waste my stickiness on my fabric mat for that. Could, but there's no use, and then you're tugging at it as fabric for gold mat, purple for vinyl, and different things like that. go ahead and unload her. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get my pick tool so that way I can go ahead and weed this out. Now, if you want, you could be weeding while that's cutting more, and I will. I just want to show you real quick on this. Okay, so the crazy part about this is it looks like it's not cut, right? So I can see it better. I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but if I was to pull this, pull off awesomely, and then see that? Remember how we put the box around? That's the box. Isn't that crazy? So what we would do is start weeding out the parts we don't want. You want to leave the parts you do want, take away the parts you don't want, because what happens is we're actually going to be putting this on the shirt. Well, it's still on the plastic. Remember, plastic holds it together. So I would just weed out everything you don't want. That. Oh my god, it cuts so beautifully. It's just like perfect clean lines. So good. Now you see how that box is still around there, so we're not wasting. So all this vinyl right here, we could still use. We can 1000% use it. It's nothing wrong with it. It has not been cut or anything. We could still use all of that. So it's cutting out my pumpkins. I'm just still weeding. Now I am going to grab this. This is just like a little, looks like a dentist tool. I don't know if you can see it great. And it's just easier to like pluck out the like windows and the doors and like the little bits, so you can kind of get them up there and then just pull with your fingers like that. So I do recommend weeding tools, and I'll link some down in the description. We always list everything that I use mostly in the description. If we can possibly link it for you guys, I will link it for you. That way, you know, you have it. It's super easy. So there you go. Just gonna keep weeding this while she's cutting. The great thing about heat vinyl is that there's nothing sticky other than like this plastic bit's a little sticky, but like with pressure sensitive vinyl, that's like a sticker, so you're pulling it off and it's sticky, and I'm trying to make sure it goes in my hand, doesn't touch my design and then like get messed up. So I actually prefer weeding out heat transfer vinyl because it's just so easy. Just like glides off. It's kind of soothing. And it's cool because you can kind of see your design like in the making while you're weeding it out. It's done. We're going to take her out, and then I'm going to take this part off, and then I'm going to put my black so it can cut out my little tires. Now, for my tires, what I'm going to do is say okay, and I'm actually going to go back to the editing screen, and I'm going to ungroup my image. So I'm going to unwield it, but all my little pieces. I'm going to come zero in everything except my wheels. Hit okay, okay, and I'm going to trash it because I don't want any of that. There we go. So I'm going to keep my wheels exactly where they are because I want my spacing. So I'm going to delete out everything around them. But I'm going to keep just the inner part because that's the part that's going to be black. And I don't want to move them. I want them right there because whenever I weed, they're still going to be perfectly in the same spot. So we're going to hit okay, okay, please, and then cut. Okay. And start. So there's our truck. I weeded out all the little bits. It didn't take me too long at all. It's awesome. Awesome. So if it was on the shirt, cute, right? I know. So the great thing about these picking tools is that you can actually come to the end and kind of like pick it out to even start your design, which is super duper helpful. Mine's super old, so I'll link a nicer, newer ones now. I got mine way back when, and I need to just go ahead and invest in some nicer ones. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces cut out. Oh, I'm so excited. I've gone ahead and turned on my iron. Usually I would use my heat press for this, but it's over there and I don't want to switch around all the cameras and lights and stuff. We have our shirt. We're going to lay her out on our mat. Okay. So the great thing about heat press is that you can actually just stick it on. Now you see that we only cut through one part, so this is still connected. If we had cut through the whole thing, all the little pieces would be discarded. So like the wheels we would have had to individually place, but now it's all together. So what we're going to do is we would place it on our mat. We'd put a protective piece of cloth, it can be a pressing cloth or just be a regular piece of cotton fabric, down, heat on there until we make sure that it's good and heated. We want to add pressure to it, so that's why I'm using my iron mat right here. And then we would peel off the clear and it would leave our design, and then we'd add our next little bit and everything like that. So I think truck first would be best. So we kind of pick his placement. Let's see, I think he's gonna be right in the middle, kind of up high. If you want to actually measure this out, good for you. But it's late and I want to go ahead and get a move on this. So we're going right here. Oh my gosh, my son is gonna be so excited to wear this tomorrow. So we're gonna put this down. Is it even? Hold it up, look it around. It sticks on there. Remember that clear part's sticky. So it's like a sticker right now. So we're gonna put it on there. Make sure she's straight. I think I'm a little crooked. There we go. Because once we iron this down, she's gonna be down. It's very hard to get it off. Is it impossible? No, I've gotten them off before. But you don't keep that vinyl piece. It goes into shreds. So I don't recommend doing that. It's kind of a pain in the rear. Okay, so I just have a piece of scrap white cotton fabric here. So I'm gonna push that down, or put that down. Take my little iron here, and I'm going to push down, put pressure down on it. Now again, usually I would use my heat press because it gives it a nice seal. If you're going to sell the things that you're making, invest in a heat press because that's going to give it a good seal, because yeah, it's going to be stuck down for that moment, but you're activating that glue. Remember, you're heating that glue up. So we want to make sure that that glue is at a good temperature that it wants to be in. And usually on the manufacturer's packaging for your vinyl, it'll tell you kind of what it wants to be. If it's a cold press, if it's a hot peel or cold peel, what does that mean? Does that vinyl prefer to be pulled when it's cooled down? You leave it for a minute and let it cool down, or does it prefer to be peeled whenever it's right off of being heated? Some do better than others, and usually your manufacturing packaging will say what it prefers. If you don't know, usually a Google search will help. I'm impatient, so a lot of times I just peel mine when it's hot because I want to move on to the next step, or I just want to finish, or I'm excited. But again, a lot of times the packaging will show. Now I do want to say, if you're having any issues where you see that the vinyl isn't adhering well and you're like, well, I'm using a hot press, or I'm using a hot iron, it's just not sealing well, or when you're weeding it, it's leaving like little bits and not coming off smoothly. Especially with an auto blade, you shouldn't have that problem unless your your blade's getting dull. If you've used your blade a ton and it's doing that, it might be time for a new blade. In the meantime, you could probably up your pressure to make sure that it goes through, but it's probably time for a new blade. Now, if your blade's brand new and honestly, I haven't switched my blades out in a long time and they're still doing great. So if you see that and your blades are good, your mat's good, everything's good, most likely that's old vinyl. A lot of times warehouses, not Allbrands, but a lot of times other warehouses, they'll keep them in a not temperature controlled warehouse and it heats them up and it kind of messes with the glue, or it's really, really old and it's been sitting on that shelf for a long time. Vinyl expires. Vinyl has an expiration date. So whenever you see a good deal and you're buying a ton, well, make sure you're using that. I mean, it takes like a few years for that to happen, but you don't know when that vinyl was created, and they usually don't have expiration dates on them. So if you notice that that's happening with your vinyl, most likely it has expired. If your blade and everything like that is good. The few times it has happened to me, it was my vinyl was old, but I had that vinyl for 5 years, and God knows when it had been made before then. So I did go ahead and throw that out because I just didn't want to have to deal with the headache of trying to, you can make it work, but who wants to deal with that mess? So I just make sure that my vinyl is used within a time. So I do have a big collection, but I am using it constantly. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm applying pressure. If you wanted to stand up and make sure you're applying pressure, that also would be great. But again, I'm just, as soon as this video is over, I'm going to put it under my heat press to give it one final good seal. So I'm just doing this just for you guys. Alright, let's see. Oop. So what we want is when I pull this away, my vinyl's staying there. So if you notice, See, my clear's coming off, but my vinyl's staying. Now, if I noticed any pooling, like I noticed right by that tire, I had some pooling. I could put this back down and seal it, but since everything else was fine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that clear part off, and you can throw it away. We no longer need it, but I'm going to put my pressing cloth back down, and I'm going to go over that tire and make sure that tire gets some good heat to it. Now again, if you weren't putting it under a heat press, then I would recommend making sure you're pressing down on it. I did see that Cricut or one of them have that square little heater, little iron that is made for this. I don't know how hot that gets, and I don't see it adding any pressure, so that makes me a bit nervous. But if you don't have a lot of room in your craft room, that is an option. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Okay, so now we're going to take our next bed, our pumpkin, and I'm just going to set that right down where I want it in my truck. There we go. Again, we're just sticking it on there. Remember, it's like a sticker. So we're just sticking that on there, kind of setting it where we like. We're putting our cloth back down. Yep. And we're going to heat her on up. Now we're adding pressure, even pressure, and we're pushing down. Now depending on, again, your heating settings or what you're heating, your vinyl type, that depends on how long you're wanting to press it. Oh my gosh, it comes off beautifully. Oh my God, so good. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, he's gonna love that. That's the best part about crafting, is like you're making something for someone else. Like my kids, I love making them things, especially my little ones, because they get so excited. Okay, we're gonna do our tires. Remember, we left them on there, so we have perfect placing that we can place on here. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Good. Almost done with this one. It's coming out cute. Love you.
Okay, whenever you're ready to get lunch.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just give me about like 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. The husband. It's my second project today, so he's ready to go to bed. So I'm gonna finish this shirt up for my son, and then get ready for bed. Alright. Let's see. Alright, there we go. And then our stems. Alright, our last part, let's go ahead and press her down, and then our shirt is done. Now I could add Alex's name on it because it is for him if I wanted to, and I could add that later, doesn't matter. But I'm so excited to see how our little truck came out. So I'm just pressing down my stem, and then I'm done. Oh, all my mess. I'm just gonna put the trash can right there and just swoop it on into the trash. Okay. All right, let's give her one good press, and then we are done. Our shirt's done. Oh my goodness, I think my son's really going to enjoy this little pumpkin truck shirt. Again, I could have added his name onto the bottom of it if I wanted to. I could have added it onto the truck itself, right onto the truck door, big A, or on the pumpkins itself, a little A or something like that. But I think this is really, really cute, and I think he's very much going to enjoy it and have fun at his little fall parties at school with this. So thank you again for checking this off my list, and make sure you show up next week. We'll be having even more fun, and I think our Christmas projects are going to start. Y'all have a good night. Bye.